Thanks for coming out and braving the sedition laws to see me tonight. It's very nice to see you all. And I'm pretty much friends with all of you, aren't I?
Yes.
Anyone seen me before? And naked? It's always good to know who naked is. No, I'm not that bad. My name's Elissa. Thanks for coming down. I don't know about my outfit. What do you reckon?
Beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Because I actually had some of my friends go, no one is going to believe you in that outfit. I don't care. I don't want you to fucking believe me, okay? I want you to go home if there's anything you don't believe and check it out for yourselves. And fuck your own life up, basically. Has anyone here got kids?
No.
Yeah? And do you bullshit them about Santa?
No.
You tell them the truth.
Well, not when they get old enough.
What do you mean not? For a few years you bullshitted.
Yeah, absolutely.
And was anyone here a kid when they were young? And then did we all get bullshitted?
Yeah.
You know, Santa is a free Masonic instrument to teach us all to learn to believe that it's okay to believe in a lie. Yeah, so, but anyway, no jokes for the first 30 seconds because I figure nobody's listening to a girl for the first 30 seconds when you're on stage anyway. Pretty much the girls are going, oh no, I wouldn't have worn those shoes for this. And I feel like the men are going, would I root her? Oh yeah, I'd root her. If it was dark, yeah. Oh, and if I was drunk, yeah, I'd root her. So that I could get lucky, that's good. Okay, pens and paper at the ready, everyone. Please just jot your questions down and we can fight in the alleyway afterwards if there's anything you don't agree with. Because I can't get off my train of thought or I will totally probably start exaggerating and making stuff up, and that's just going to, there's no place for that in this shit because this shit is already too extreme. Disclaimer before we start, basically you're looking at someone who's suffering like long-term, short-term memory loss and way overdue a psychotic episode with no health insurance. So that's not good, is it? Okay, who's here? To everyone here, I know you all know about the New World Order, don't you?
Yeah.
And who's here to find out about anything in particular? Money or the fractional reserve system? Or is there anyone with any questions about anything? Because I can't answer them. Australian issues. So you're into the Port Arthur, the Bali stuff? Yeah, anyone here for the free man stuff, the straw man? Yeah, the tin man, the lion? Anyone here? You know what, I can't work out if there is anyone here from ASIO. I don't think so.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Ah, good for you. Good for you being upfront and honest. That's the way she is. Yeah. Anyone fallen in love with me yet? Anyone from ASIO fallen in love? Okay, so this is basically who, what, where, how, why. What is going on? There's this New World Order agenda and they're trying to kill 80% of us, and I only just found out a year ago. Is everyone with that? Yes. Yeah. Unbelievable. And when I first started hearing about it, I was like, no way. As if they're trying to kill 80% of the Earth's population. And then after about 6 months of investigating, you're like, I bet they did put monkey and chicken viruses in baby vaccinations. Before you know it, that's where you're up to. So how are they doing it? Well, we're all participating in the way we contribute with our little jobs, the way we pay our taxes, our fines. They're constantly siphoning all the money from everything we pay, siphons up to the spider in the top of this pyramid, the spider's web. How do we stop it? And why should we stop it? Well, because Hitler only got so big because nobody stopped him. You know, people say Hitler killed 6 million Jews. Of course, that's not true. Hundreds of thousands of people contributed their energy to that cause. So if we do stop it, obviously we're all going to dance around under rainbows. Lemonade is going to come out of every tap. We're all going to sing together in harmony for the rest of time forevermore and make love slowly and passionately and never pull each other's hair. Of course, everything I talk about today is real. I want you to know I have YouTubes to back it up. And at the same time, everything is not real, okay? Because apparently everything is just a figment of our collective imaginations, which is fucking shocking, really, because when you think about it, if this is our collective imagination, we could have imagined better carpet. Please just suspend your disbelief until we get to the end, because I really do think that this stuff is all real. Okay, so as far as I know, the whole world is a big corporation. I don't want to get all corporation-y on all of you, but it's like, it's not nations against nations, it's this big international spider's web of these nasty bastards. And apparently money is controlled from London, it's the axis of evil. Far out. Military is controlled from Washington, and religions, spirituality is controlled from the Vatican. Porn and fireworks, Canberra. And these people who rule everything, they are occultist Satanists, okay? I'm sorry I don't have any photos of that. But you have to trust me, they're doing magic rituals and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? I've also found out that drinking babies' blood and sacrificing children is all okay. It's no different from wiping 100 ants down the sink. Everything is recyclable. That's going back to that other point from before. So we can all relax about the baby eating and the child killing. Plus, I have a friend who's a shaman and he says, oh, baby eating's gone on since the beginning of time and sucking blood out of children. It's a legitimate way to energize yourself. We should all stop judging it. Okay, so, yeah, this big corporation, they are controlling all governments, all of these massive companies through the old boy networks and the secret societies and basically the secret 7 and the famous 5, don't cut it anymore. Okay, I've got to do some slides here, so just bear with me and we'll see if we can do it. I'm not very good with the technicals. But you don't want someone who's good and smick with all that stuff. You can't trust them. Really? Don't you feel that way? Anyway, you can't be good at everything. I was supposed to say that one before. It's bringing back some memories, isn't it? There's my new good one. Oh, get fucked. Oh no. That's, no, I've already sworn. Okay, sorry. Don't be like that, everyone. I think we're about here. Illuminate. Oh yeah, very bad. Okay. In the good old days, slaves had their food and board covered. These days we have to pay for our own food, we have to pay for our own rent, we pay for our fines, our insurances, our taxes, all the ways they put taxes on top of taxes, on top of roads, on top of tolls, and all the money is siphoning up to these occultist, blood-eating, child-rooting people, which is not good, but basically, these people want to control the whole world. I don't even know how to control my hair. It could be good, except that they're all psychopaths, like sociopathic, narcissistic freaks. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind. I like people organising me. I'm quite submissive. Yeah, I got heaps of boring facts, but I can't remember them, obviously, so you're just going to have to stand me pretty much speaking from the things I can remember. Okay, so we've got the politicians who are the middlemen between us and the Queen. Yeah. The Queen reigns, but she doesn't rule. The politicians rule us through the Queen. So Kevin Rudd rules, but he doesn't reign, apart from Therese. The Queen reigns, but she doesn't rule. And so the Queen, yeah, the Queen, The Queen's like your dad who takes you to Luna Park once a year, and Kevin Rudd is like your mum who tells you to pick your socks up every day. And I've just been learning that Article 59 of the United Nations Charter means the Queen is not even allowed to impose her country's constitutional values on this country without it being an act of war. Okay, Google moment, go check that out for yourselves. That's true. Surely the Queen is not above the law. I thought that was one of the best jokes in the whole show. So when Prince William gets... What?
She obviously thinks she is.
She does, and I think that's 3/4 of it, don't you? It's like what you're thinking here. Like, I think I'm really pretty and successful and popular. Yeah, so I love you. So the Queen, then what have we got? Do you think they're not going to give it to Charles, are they? They reckon Charles is going to be king. That's not going to happen. It's going to cross straight over to William, of course. And when William gets coronated, he has to promise to uphold the laws of God. What's that? Oh, what are the laws of God, Mummy? No limits in any way. Oh, great. Where's Justin Timberlake? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's just me. I don't think... Oh, I could be punctuating this shit with jokes.
You think he's gay?
No, I don't think he's gay, but I think that he probably would fantasize about being gay.
Cool.
So, oh yeah, I know. The reason why, I was supposed to talk about money before I got onto that. Yeah, money, that's funny, isn't it? While you're all noticing that your child with his leg blown in half. The reason why they don't show this stuff in media. Hello, how you going?
Fine.
Thanks. You thought you'd turn up, did you? Yes. Oh, you've been here already getting drunk. All right. Yeah. Yeah. The reason why they don't show this stuff is because we are the nastiest fuckers in the world to have the lifestyle that we have, and to continue to have that lifestyle, they have to suppress that information from us, so we don't actually see what we're doing to people to have this lifestyle, and so we continue in through the media with all our myths of society, through the papers and everything. Going back to the Queen, all money is where all of these problems stem from, okay? So money, when you're a kid, you say to your parents, where does money come from? And that's when the parents realise they're just making everything up, okay? And so we realise when we get older that money is owned by private families. Everyone know that in the room now? Yeah. Do you speak to people about that? And do they say, oh, what? And then none of them know?
They invented it in the first place.
Yeah. Well, I'm a massage therapist in my day job. I know what you're going. You're going, what, Elissa, you're not a professional comedian? Well, yes, I am, but I also like food and shelter. And in my day job, I massage a lot of economists and stuff, and I tell them money's privately owned, and they're like, no, it's not. I didn't go to university for 8 years to not find that out. And then they come back the next week and go, fucking hell, I can't believe that. Money's privately owned. It's some dumb massage therapist from Bondi told me about it after 25 years in the industry. And I've only known about it for 6 months, so I can't take all the credit. Anyway, the difference between us and the Queen and the royal family is really just punsy outfits. It's a silly joke, but so we are begging these private corporations. Our government begs these private families for money, and we get money from the Reserve Bank of Australia, and the Reserve Bank of Australia is not a reserve or a bank or Australian. It's actually sourcing its money from the Commonwealth, and we would think that the Commonwealth is the commonwealth of the people, but no, the Commonwealth is private bank owned by the Warburgs, the Rothschilds, the Oppenheimers and the Schiffs. They lend money to us, which they make just by typing. Give it to us, and then when we have to give it back with 20% or 10% more, we're not allowed to type ours. That is fucking outrageous, don't you think? Doesn't it make you want to kill, rape, maim and pillage? Good. See, I think this will be funnier to a bigger audience. I want to hear Sandra Sully say it on. I'm going to force Sandra fucking Sully to say it on Channel 10. But these people, they're controlling us the way we think, obviously. If I'm 38 and I'm so intelligent that it took me this long to get it, obviously they're controlling education, they're controlling universities, they're controlling the way history's written, they control libraries. So we stay in the dark and we never wake up and we never actually learn what's going on and we never actually realise that we do this. You know, when you can't acknowledge what your own faults really are, you know what Dr. Phil says? He says, give it to me, bitch. Yeah, yeah! No, that's not true. And he's not unfaithful anyway. He just gets Robin to black up. But no, Dr. Phil says you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So we're living here in the free country, free to be taxed, lied to and stolen from continually. But it's not that bad, you know, like I can still afford milk. If everything is an illusion, maybe Tom Cruise is straight. Oh, sorry. sorry, but you know, apparently we've all been dumbed down. That's the other thing these people do to us. My mum said she just dropped me on my head, but okay. So these guys, everyone knows that these are the people with the faces, the public faces to be held responsible for like 9/11 and probably other things, but I don't care. I'm not trying to suggest that we put them in jail or burn them with cigarettes or force them to die on fairy bread, forced into their mouths until their nose is coming with little coloured buttons. I don't think we need to do that to these people, but I do think we need to recognise that what their act was all about was taking away our human rights. And the other worst thing these people do, they suppress technology, they suppress information. These people have control of free energy. We know that, right? And we know there's such thing as free energy. How do we know that? Aliens came and they swapped ladies' ovaries for the technology. And how do I know that? Well, how do we all know that? I mean, who has ever heard of spaceship? No one's ever heard of spaceship. They're silent. That's how we know. I don't have any video. Actually, yeah, I do. This lady here, all right, Nina. This lady here, Monbulk to Hallam Road, 1993, got out of her car, her and her husband, they stopped in the car, saw a UFO, massive, the size of a football field, walked over to it. This car stopped 100 metres back, they got out, walked over to it. Days later, she had puncture marks on her legs, on her navel. They took bits of her, they did everything, and now she just goes around speaking about it. So if you don't believe UFOs are here, fucking ring her up. She lives on the Monbulk to Hallam Park Road.
Is she Australian?
Yeah, she is just in Melbourne. It just happened in 1993. It's on the internet if you look up Australian UFO encounters. Oh, okay. So what is really going on, okay? They are killing us from every direction. They're putting the poisons in the food, in the water, in the chemtrails. I don't care about that. I smoke and drink Coca-Cola. I'm not worried about dying. I just don't want them to do it to me. But I want to do it to myself, God damn it. Anyway, I want to know not only why are they doing it, but apart from the fact that they're paranoid, mean little fucks, but also I want to know who they really are, like, and how come I never get invited to their parties? I'm really good at parties. Anyway, you keep looking at me strange, aren't you? Seriously, the fluoride is working if you think it's not happening. And when I think about politicians lying, I think to myself, do they know that they're lying? Because I know that they're lying. That's one of my other favourite jokes. Okay, anyone here still believes that war is the answer? In 2009? No, war is not the answer, people, obviously. I think anyone who still believes that war is the answer should just be shot, maimed, killed, bludgeoned and burnt. Great. Badly.
Only if you profit from it.
Yeah! Even better! Seriously, war is not the answer, but I know that, you know, these days if you want to go to war, see, the difference between me and the soldiers is I don't do it. I'd like to kill all those people who believe war's the answer, but I don't, and I don't get paid by the government. And you know soldiers all get a beer subsidy on top of that, $2,000 tax-free a week. Oh yeah, beers are $1, or they were when I last associated with an army boy, which was 1986. Yeah, they get beer subsidised because they need to wash down the fucking pills that they need to take to cover up the pain of the fact that they've forced civil war and freedom on people in another country on behalf of their masters, which really started the whole fucking problem which fucked them up in the first place. Woohoo! Let's support the troops. Yeah, I don't support the war, but I support the troops. Fuck, I hate people who say that. I just want to kill them, burn them, rape them, kill them. It's wrong to say you don't support the war, but you support the troops. I don't think you should be like that. I was watching that around at 2 o'clock in the morning the other day, and they had these ads on going, you know, join the army, kill, rape, burn, whatever. I was thinking, what kind of alcoholic, stoner, insomnia? That's what I'm looking for. But no, I don't think we should have any kind of organised killing. I think if you want to kill someone, you should have to do it with your own 2 hands. And you have to be really like losing your nut over someone. You have to really want to kill them, personally. That's just me. I don't really care if anyone dies or doesn't die. I know that there's no such thing as death, but I just want us to be nice to each other while we are here. Okay, Jamar is Lemire. Scary? I doubt it. I need an assistant. Frank, would you mind coming up just for a
I'm a
moment?
bit shy.
No, I like shy. I eat shy for breakfast.
I'm here.
Come on, up here. Okay, Jamar is Lemire. Apparently they are prepared to use violence to achieve political aims. We, on the other hand, are doing a little thing called preemptive defence, which I'm going to demonstrate now, alright?
It's not too sexual, is it?
No, it's hardly sexual until I get you into Guantanamo. And it's like fucking Dr. Phil and Oprah. Anyway, okay, so you be Iran, alright? What? You were standing there!
I thought you
No,
liked
go
me,
and sit
Elissa.
down, go and sit down, get away, put your weapons of mass destruction down.
You said you were a friend.
Oh yeah, well, you always hit the one you love, you know how it goes. Okay, did you enjoy that? Okay, I heard Obama the other day saying we can finally start pulling the troops out because apparently democracy is nearly cemented into Crete. And I'm like, what, Obama? Doesn't that mean we've lost another war? And he goes, yes, Elissa. And then I go, what? So how come we've still got all the good weapons and hookers and cocaine and bitches? And he goes, I don't know. So we've lost another war and the free world is actually quite expensive. I'm wondering though, what's more scary to you guys? A few Muslim terrorists flying planes into a building or 9 million under-medicated, grumpy, hungry pensioners who are $62 worse off a week since we started the war? I know what I'm more afraid of! Hitler. Oh, I already talked about Hitler. The fucking Vatican supported Hitler in the Second World War. Did we know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You guys are great. I did speaking to the converted. It's a shame, but it's good because I know eventually I'm going to have to do this to real people. So it's good for me to soften myself up on you guys.
Practice.
Practice makes cakes. Yeah, so we on Anzac Day they say you've got to support the troops. Well, I do, okay? I just support the other people as well who say they won't go to war because sometimes it requires more courage to stare down your nation and your friends and your mates and say, no, you guys are killing motherfuckers and I'm not going to join you. And people all over the world are doing that, and that's what's great because once they pull out, there's no troops, is there? And then there's no war. But then are we going to end up dancing under rainbows? I actually don't know. I think human nature is quite complexly dark. Like, I like that shit. I am a little bit strange. I downloaded one of those beheadings off the internet. That was horrible, man. Has anyone done that? It's just hot. It's shocking. It's just like all out of focus. No lighting, and there was like no character development, no backing music. You could absolutely tell it wasn't Hollywood propaganda. I saw an ad the other day that said, occupational health and safety, no one should die at work. I'm like, what about soldiers? I mean, they're paid to be debating champs. And then I'm like, what about parking officers? They work on the roads. Every few years you're going to hit one. Okay, now this is just a crazy idea that I'm putting out there. I'm sure it's going to take off with you, the magnitude of you all here. It's just going to spread out across the community. Okay, this is it. Okay, you ready for this? It's a bit of a radical new thing. I think it's going to take off. A fine is only a fine if you pay it. If you don't, it's a fine. So yeah, anyone can use it. In fact, I'm starting to recommend it for myself. The worst thing about the government is the propaganda. The way it's one way and they tell us it's another, like the Sea Patrol. You know, have you seen that show? It's got Lisa McEwen. It's the asylum seekers drowning in the sea, and you've got Lisa McEwen running over, wrapping a blanket around them and giving them a cup of product placement chicken cup of soup. It is so wrong and illegal, and it pissed me off because, you know, the government, whatever they tell you, the opposite is actually true. What actually happened was we let 150 refugees drown in the sea. It's true. I can't believe anyone, anywhere, can convince any of us that anyone anyone has the right to stop anyone from going over the imaginary fucking creations of our minds. Apes don't even treat each other like that. It's like, no, you can't come over here. Oh, without like 2 bananas and a case of anything but loose, you know, any which way but loose, and the monkey's like, I got that, and the other monkey goes, oh, come over there. So yeah, they come here, we bomb the shit out of their country, they come here on leaky fishing boats, and then we call them names, we call them asylum seekers. If that all happened to me, I would be seeking an asylum too. And the worst thing is, it's all because they came here in boats. It's a little bit of, you know, a little bit of sort of embarrassment about our own history, isn't it? You know, at the same time as all this refugee stuff was going on, we had the Ansett collapse. These people, if we could have got them to pay $20,000 each for their trip over here on Ansett, could have saved Ansett. I know, I'm so pretty, it detracts from my genius. Shit, I haven't been doing my slides. I'm really... Oh! Yeah, okay, another government lie. Fucking hell. We need a middleman, and it's always a man, isn't it? It's always a freaking man that between us and God, as if we could separate ourselves from God, and as if that thing's getting closer to it. I swear to you, we have to get rid of this notion of God. What? Who the fuck believes that you need that to get to God? God is everything and everyone. This is God, I'm God, you're God, that's God, that's God. Everything that is ever and ever was and ever could be and never will be and never even was thought about and is everywhere, nowhere, and all the time is God. Have we got that sorted? Good, because, you know, I think it's time that we lose the great big headmaster in the sky connotation of God, because that is not helping any of us. You're looking at me like I'm talking too fast. No, get on the ice and keep up. Okay, so to speak of the separation of church and state is basically like an anatomist speaking of the separation between anus and perineum. It's a slippery slope. It smells like poo. The church, they're so rich. They're richer than all the corporations and all the nations on earth. And they tell you, you have to give. Which is like my little brother who would eat all my Easter eggs, and then like a month later he'd be pulling Easter eggs out of his room and he wouldn't share them with me. And I'd go, actually that's one of my fucking Easter eggs. He'd go, no, I'm not sharing. And he'd eat his Easter eggs till Christmas. But the only difference is, his Easter eggs weren't making their own Easter eggs in the drop. He was just eating them really slowly.
Lost me.
I'm so glad you're honest. It's because money makes its own money. Can I see next time I do the show?
I thought you were talking about the South Park episode with the rabbit.
With the what?
The rabbit. It had the Pope, and they made out that the rabbit would be the one that'd be crowned as God's will because more than the Pope or something. It's very funny, but I didn't quite get it.
No. Oh.
Yeah, the rabbit would be more worthy of ruling the flock than the Pope, basically.
Well, I
They did
believe
in
that.
comedy.
I do believe that. Are you trying to tell me you're not getting the show?
No, I get it very well.
Oh,
Thank you.
good. That's what I like to hear. If not, yeah. Good. Go tell the government, as we say. All right. So the Pope's oldest, worst soldiers in the history of time were these guys, the Knights Templar, and these guys are the ones that started the witch burning. Now, why would these men need to kill 5 million women? What were these women, herbalists, healers, psychics, wise women, divine, beautiful, lovely women? Why would they all need to be murdered? What possible truth would it be that they would be exposing that they needed to shut up? Would it possibly be the concept that we're all God? I think it is. So they say that religion starts all wars, right? And then you've got this guy, Albert Pike. Apparently, this guy is the head of Universal Freemasonry in the late 1800s. Supreme Pontiff of Universal Freemasonry, also very, very high up in the KKK. He wrote a letter to this guy. Oh, it's not. It's always that shit that gets the biggest laugh. I'm about being a comedian. the Italian mafia. And anyway, him and Pike were talking, let's have 3 world wars, which are, by the end of a century of wars, people will be so tired they'll accept whatever we do, and at the end we'll bankrupt them for a start, we'll repossess their property, we'll reinstate the military draft, and what else do they want to do? Disarm the nations. Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, people say, in fact the Freemasons say, that letter between Giuseppe and Mazzini in 1870 it was written, the Freemasons say it doesn't exist, it's never existed. Apparently someone saw it in the British Museum in 1925. The British Museum says it's never had a copy of it, but at the very least it came out as a letter in 1890, which is still 20 years before the First World War. So these guys were definitely up to something fishy, and in fact, if you ask me, they started all the wars. So this is their plans ultimately, at the end of it all, along, as well as in all the economic crashes in the middle. Now, I really didn't want to talk about Martin Bryant, because I had a little experience with Martin Bryant. I was, well, not with Martin Bryant, but I was searching out the information about this, and I went to a meeting, and then I got photographed by ASIO and sort of intimidated to stop talking about it, and so I felt the urge to talk about it, put it that way. Anyway, we all know what they do to people who tell the truth. John Lennon,
John F.
Martin
Kennedy.
Luther King. Oh, is it?
John F. Kennedy.
Oh, is it? No, it is. Yeah, Martin Luther King, Pol Pot, whatever. No, you didn't correct me there, did you? Bloody hell. Alright, so if you talk out against your government, what is it? Sedition. 5 days incarceration without a lawyer or even access to your mum, basically. And apparently you still get nothing for the Sydney Olympics volunteer tracksuits.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, is it? Oh, they've
Correct me if I'm
improved it.
wrong, but isn't it 2 weeks?
2 weeks it might be now. Oh, they'd need 2 weeks on me, I reckon. So I'm a terrorist for saying this shit, apparently, and there aren't many women terrorists, and you know why? Because the idea of 42 virgin males in heaven is not a draw card for the ladies. The worst terrorists in history are always when the state apparatus is hijacked by some overzealous dictator like Hitler, Pol Pot, Whitlam. That's right, I'm just checking your Australian one. Okay, so yeah, Martin Bryant, this guy, apparently the second most successful, if that's the word to use, shooter in the history of time. Second most successful shooter. He was left-handed, the shooter that everyone witnessed was right-handed. Some people on the scene of the day said yes, he was definitely the shooter. Some people said yeah, no, he definitely wasn't. I don't know what the facts are on this, but if you do doubt it, I suggest you look into it because it's a bloody big mystery and there's a lot of weird anomalies about where the police were and all sorts of boring shit like that.
Mossad.
But Mossad?
Yeah.
I've heard a bit of that too. But who knows? All I know is this Tavistock Institute is apparently, it's a think tank and it's they do mind control programs and they create Manchurian candidates. It was started by some of the CIA Nazi war criminals that should have been put on trial after the Second World War but were actually siphoned out of there, moved around the world by the American government, including started the CIA in a thing called Project Paperclip. The Tavistock Institute sent psychiatrists to Tasmania in the late 60s and to Melbourne, apparently because Tasmania is like the backwater of this country. So there's a lot of alcoholism and there's a lot of incest, which apparently creates children which are suitable for Manchurian candidate training. It's because of what happens, I know. It splits your personality when you're traumatized or tortured, and you get a thing called dissociative identity disorder. And then when you have that disorder, psychologists can sort of tell children with that disorder, and they're very good candidates for mind programming. They get different personalities. If you notice in the Martin Bryant thing, the police were talking to him on the phone and they were calling him Jamie. But anyway, Martin Bryant was treated by the top psychiatrist from the Tavistock Institute from 1984 onwards. So that was 12 years of psychiatric therapy he had with that institute before he did the killing. Nowhere will you ever hear that on the news. That is a very scary place. Okay, this is I don't care. I know I'm going to probably piss some people off in a bigger audience. You guys are probably hit, but global warming. Is anyone believing in that? Last time I checked, it's a fucking infinite universe. Infinite. Do you know how hard that is to litter? It's impossible. Remember when you're a little kid and you go to your brother, infinity of 4, and he goes, you can't do that. I already said infinity. That's my attitude to Al Gore. Man, somebody needs to show Al Gore the secret. Al, if you think we're going to create a nuclear ice age Armageddon, we're going to create it. Ah, yes. I actually feel like, if there is a drought and we all do run out of water and we all die, so what? We go to a place where there's no toilets, no urinary tracts, or anything like that. The Club of Rome, apparently, an Aspector secret society club of the Illuminati, started the concept of global warming, started thinking us about it, promoting it, about 20 years ago, because they wanted to make our worst enemy ourselves. So don't tell me that it's my lifestyle that's ruining everything. When they've got nuclear submarines bumping into each other under the ocean with 300 times the power of Hiroshima, just fucking floating around under the ocean. But I've got to turn my computer off at the wall. Fuck off! When is a politician going to realise it's not how long we live, it's how well we live, okay? So we all know there's no such thing as magic, but these people, these high up people, they're all like magicians. It's great. My favourite, Club of Rome, that's in there somewhere. In the pyramid. Oh, they're all occultists, Satanists. I'm just so sad that they won't invite me. This is the Skull and Bones membership, George Bush, when he's a young man. Skull and Bones is my favourite secret society. Do you know about that? The way they only have like 800 members living at any one time, and the way they initiate you is you have to strip naked, get in a coffin, and tell everyone your worst sexual secrets.
While masturbating.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That's good. That's really good. I can imagine George Bush. It'd be like, once I tried to push a peanut in my butt, see if I can taste it. I couldn't. Laura had to fish it out. I enjoyed that. Skull and Bones. I love Skull and Bones. These people seed the CEOs of all government, top institutions, military media, all that stuff. Once again, never invite me to their parties. Okay. This guy, Amschel Rothschild, 1770 something, started the whole concept of controlling every one of us.
Yes.
For his family and friends, and he fucking did an amazing job. I really have to say, I couldn't have done that. I can't even get my fucking thing to work. This guy's controlled almost all humans on Earth in 300 years. And what foresight! Like, talk about, I can't even, like, plans for dinner. And, this guy 300 years ahead. He's like, anyway. You know the Queen's right-hand man? Well, I don't know if she knows if he really likes her for who she is or for who she is, but is Evelyn Rothschild, the great-great-great-great-grandson of this guy. Maybe there's another great-grandson in there.
And the son talks about global warming.
Yes, that's right. David de
Rothschild.
Rothschild, on behalf of the Club of Rome, who's sexy. Well, he's not as sexy as Tyrone. Did you hear that, David? David's like, he's got a beard, he's a bit mappy, he's a bit, he's a bit sort of, oh, we've got to save the world from my dad and grandpa and great-grandpa. But yeah, David de Rothschild is main proprietors of, he's in all those World Wildlife Funds and all those corrupt charities.
Yes.
And then there's, what was the other one? The one that's alive at the moment is the Queen's right-hand man. His name's Evelyn. Evelyn Rothschild. Lovely. Hello, Evelyn. Yeah, so This is the Committee of 300, which is like apparently a general map of all the people that are controlling everything. Tavistock's quite big, you'll see there. Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Angelina Jolie goes and gives talks there, but nobody knows what she gives talks about because they just look at her boobs. There's all sorts of things in there. CIA, MK Ultra, they're the people who do mind control. The RAND company, they do genetic experimentation and DNA mapping. Kissinger, oh my God, don't even start with all the Kissinger shit. Okay, so now this is really getting real. This nice lady, his name's Vicky Pollan. She grew up in a nice Jewish family where everyone's like doctors and lawyers and police people, and they wear twin sets and pearls, but they do child sacrifices and baby eating. And she's been talking about it. She became qualified as a psychotherapist. She's got her own psychotherapy help centre for victims of satanic ritual abuse, and she's a wonderful woman. I just want you all to know people like this exist. This one here, very interesting, Arizona Wilder. She was apparently trained by Mengele or...
Yeah, Mengele.
Or was it Goebbels? I think it was Mengele.
Mengele.
One of the CIA mind-controlled Nazis brought out, and she was trained to be a high priestess for their blood-killing, baby-rooting sacrifices. There's some great docos on the internet about her. I really am interested in her. This one is my favourite though, Kathy O'Brien. Kathy O'Brien, when she was 6 years old, was getting molested by her father regularly, and he was filming it. Selling it onto the, this was in the 60s, the early 60s, he was selling the porn onto the local mafia who were on-selling it to the government. And Kathy O'Brien, the police one day went to her dad's house and said, we know about your child porn, so you can either go to jail for the rest of your life or you can sell your daughter effectively into this program and we'll look after her, the government job, you know. So for the first few years he trained her mind at home, and then after she was about 8 years old, she got taken into custody and handled for the next 25 years. She had a daughter in the program who was grown up in the program as well. She was used as a sex slave, an information courier, and a drug mule. For 20 years, she was a great mind control subject because they torture them regularly to control them.
What program is this? Is this in Jet?
MK Ultra.
This is MK Ultra, it's called, and Project Monarch.
It's a mind control program.
Where?
In America, run by the CIA. It's all documented. They've had like coronial inquiries and things. This, the next slide, it's my favourite. I really feel like I need to spread it. A lot of people find it really distasteful, but what happened is the way they tortured her was many ways over the years because they have to make you believe you can never get out. One of the things they do is they give the kids when they're 10 or 11 years old sand shoes and they say go for a run on some massive big forest property, and then the men spend the afternoon hunting the children, and that's if they want to kill someone or get rid of them. They hunt them naked with guns like animals. One of the things they did to this woman was they carved her vagina. They cut open the interior muscle of the vagina and it prolapsed, and then one of her handlers carved this little man's face into it as a sign of her being his property. And in this film that I saw on the internet, she goes to a gynecologist to sort of have it documented that, you know, that this is on her body, and to have it photographed officially. And that's what it looks like. It's pretty scary stuff when you think about these people. But I think you know, I want to shock people into maybe thinking, oh, maybe I am curious to look at that. This is Bohemian Grove. Do we all know about that?
Yeah.
Bohemian Grove is my favourite, okay? Like you all, I know, I spend a lot of time pondering the sexual fetishes of the world's most elite men.
That's you too.
We're going to talk about Jeff Gannon.
Who?
Jeff Gannon,
I don't know.
the male prostitute that the moguls bring down to Bohemian Grove.
Yeah,
to service them.
there is a little mention of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
one
he's
of the
also-
games they play.
And Bush has also had a bit of affair with him, you know.
Oh yes, I
red
heard
posts
that.
and,
Yeah. Yeah, they've all got, even Kathy O'Brien, she's written a book. She ended up getting broken out of there and being able to talk about it because one of her controllers realised that she was being so badly abused and I think fell in love with her. And decided over the next 2 years to break her out, took her to Alaska and deprogrammed her. It took about 2 years so that she could be normal again. And she had been being raped from the age of 2 years old or whatever, so she really needed re-socialisation. She's a very interesting lady. Anyway, Bohemian Grove. This is the, you know, I love camping as well. And this is the world's biggest, best, all men though, only men. They won't allow women. I don't get it. We've got bums too, but... Well, that's one of my other favourite jokes. Yeah, but you know, these guys really put the camp into camping. The only boobs these guys want to see are on the barbecue aprons. That's the trouble with Bohemian Grove. But basically, they're all bonding over sexual stuff, as we all do, you know. But this is why you got to wonder why women get narky. You know, when it comes to the world and men, like you guys are supposed to be controlling everything, and all you can think about is what to rub your dicks between things. Anyway, so I actually googled Bohemian Grove and I saw the activities. The first day they smash a giant pinata of Hillary Clinton's head and coloured condoms fall out for everyone. And then they play pin the tail on Jeff Gannon. And then they had orienteering, which is how to tell an ass from a mouth by firelight. They had Cheney Day, that's my favourite, shoot someone in the face with your spine. And the last day they have a big game of sardines with the Iraqi oil. So anyway, yeah, these people, this is where our money's going, ultimately. When you pay a fine, you know who you're supporting. These people, these satanic occult worshippers. At this party, which a journalist, if you can call him that, got in and filmed, they have a mock child sacrifice, which means that they burn an effigy of a child and they play on a tape recorder the sound of a child screaming. This is where your fucking parking fines money is going.
And on the program, they have a little child skull.
Yes.
At the bottom, on the program, they give all the people that go there.
Yeah, and it's all about baby sacrifice. There's a picture from about the 20s of Bohemian Grove out in the bush.
It's all people.
Yeah, they're all men, only men. That's just a little silly artist cartoon. Oh. I think I just put that in to say, don't worry about what people are thinking of you when you believe the shit, because nobody's thinking of you anyway. But also, I think this is relevant for tonight. Art doesn't need to make money to be justified, does it? You know, you tell that to a baby left alone in a room with its own food. So the only way we can win is to not play. And I'm not saying kill yourself. I'm just saying we need to have faith of our Creator, not faith in our Creator. It is! That's right! Well done. You win a prize for that. Okay, now how can we ever be divided from God? That's the amazing thing that they've managed to convince us of. We can't be divided from the stars, from the planets, from the sun, from the oceans. We can't be divided from God. I think I was sick that day at school where they taught us all that everything is infinitely abundant. But I think that's how it works. I actually think what we need to do is never let currency get in the hands of private people ever again. Isn't that it? Like we need to have small people's collectives, and not because small people are easier to steal from. No, we need small people's collectives. This is the community of 300 families. 300 insane families. All we need is 300 sane families. Oh, come on, somebody must have the same family. Okay, if we don't include uncles and cousins. Yeah, that's all we need, 300. We're going to do it. Yeah, so we need this new currency, and I think cupcakes. Do you reckon?
Yes.
So we need to never let the hands of cupcakes get in the hands of private bankers again. Oh no, we can let cupcakes.
No.
No, we can't. We can feed all the homeless with a small portion of the things that we use to kill people with. Now, the Mayan calendar is here to remind us that we don't need to worry about everything. Everything's in place, everything's in time. I'm sure, like they did that thousands of years ago. If those guys don't know what's going on, I don't know who does. So the Mayan calendar just reminds me, I don't need to change you or those PNAC guys. I just need to be allowed to be me. So the worst weapon of mass destruction is a TV. We all know that, don't we? Good. It's all full of liars just serving their mortgage. I just got refused entry to a ABC show. They wanted a researcher, and I rang up the National Terrorist Hotline and told them they were responsible for September 11. And Denton didn't want me. I don't understand what that was all about. So this is the shit television is distracting us from, supposedly. Now, next, the final thing is they reckon an antichrist is coming. An antichrist. That's what they've been saying in the Bible. All sorts of people are saying it. And this is, that's who they think is going to control and lead all of the world. I'm sorry, but I'm going to need 2 decades of chemical poisoning before I accept that. Ruling over me for a second. Apparently, yes. Who else is going to do it? Seriously, I know you're thinking me, but no, I'll be knocked up in a caravan park with 4 kids in Gosford by then. But yeah, Prince William, apparently 2015, is going to be 33, the very Masonic age, and he will also be completely bald by then. So you can expect Shane Warne to get a knighthood. Yeah. So we need to get these new collectives happening. We need to start baking. We need to reject propaganda. We need to. What? I almost had it. We need to start making our own beautiful world. We need to bliss out on each other and enjoy food and all of the beautiful relationships we can have with each other. And sure, nothing lasts, I know. But don't worry, you don't want to end up like Walt Disney or Richard Wilkins. Okay. We all judge ourselves in the end. We are our own authority. And like I said, no more weapons. Put down weapons, okay? If you want to kill someone, go to use your own 2 hands. Or one-up them with emotional torment over 20 or 30 years. Like decent people. Okay, so we have to remember who we really are. The hardest thing we have to do is change our minds about what we believe, and I'm shitting myself to think about the concept that Santa might actually exist somewhere. Alright, so I've got a song for you all now. It's just a little song I wrote about my frustration being a woman in the state of the world as it is. So I'm sorry if anyone finds it less than tasteful. It's called Men Stop Fucking Everything. I don't mean to sound paranoid. It's not them versus us, but why can't women join in the elite circles of power? Why can't women go to Bohemian Grove? We've got asses too and mouths round the campfires. We would sing, men. Stop fucking everything, stop fucking everything, stop fucking everyone. Weapons, profiteering and proliferation. Stop fucking everything, stop fucking everyone. With your mind control programs and your terrorist hoaxes. Now I don't mean to sound picky, but it's bothered me for a while. Why can't women be priests? 'Cause we make hopeless pedophiles. Remember Brent and Todd from Beaconsfield? They were trapped down in that mine. Yeah, they were going to send a priest down to them, but they didn't want a priest alone. 2 minors. Stop fucking everything, stop fucking everyone. With your candles and your crosses and all that wine in the cupboard. Stop fucking everything, stop fucking everyone. How come so many priests had to get the job done? And now men, I'm not suggesting that each and every man is to blame. If you good men can't help us, we'll be on our way. Stop fucking everything, stop terrorizing. your chemtrails and your taser guns, with your microchips, men in uniform. Bioterrorism and your bonkers bankers, money system. Stop fucking everything, stop fucking everyone. Why don't you just go to the beach and make castles in the sun? Stop fucking everything, stop terrorizing us. We got to bring the blood back